Alright, I'm going to be demonstrating how to do the Automoblox drawings from Activity 5.2b, Introduction to CAD Modeling Skills. I'm going to start with the body part of the Automoblox vehicle. So to do that, I'm going to start a new file. And on that file, I'm going to create a new standard part. Alright, to begin this part, we need to get the base of the object. So I'm going to start by creating a two-dimensional sketch. And I'm just going to pick the XY plane. So you can see we have the front view of this object shown in the view cube. And I'm going to draw this to its outside dimension. So I'm going to create a rectangle. Creating that rectangle 3.17 wide. I'm going to hit the tab key on my keyboard to get the height. I'll type that in as 1.53. Hit enter on my keyboard, and now I have a rectangle that's the correct size. Before I go ahead and extrude this so I can get a solid feature, I'm going to fillet the corners. So the fillet's going to round the corners, and according to my drawing, those fillets have a radius of 0.3. So it's the same for all four corners, so just click on the lines, and where they intersect you will get your fillet. And then we finish sketch, using the wheel on my mouse to zoom out a little bit and get it so we can see everything. And I'm going to click on extrude. The distance to extrude this part is 3.17. Alright, so now we just kind of have an overall shape for this part. And to get the rest of the part, we need to cut out some of the other features. So I'm going to start a new sketch, but this time instead of selecting a plane, I'm going to select part of the existing object. So when I click on this face, I'm going to get a new drawing plane that is parallel to that face. So then I'm going to create a rectangle for the inside part that gets cut out here. And I'm going to dimension that rectangle according to the dimensions on the drawing that I'm given. So it's 2.14 wide, or 2.4 wide. It's 0.93 tall. It's 0.3 from the top. And 0.39 from the side. Alright, this one also has a fillet, and this fillet is 0.2. So again, fillet, change it to 0.2. And then finish sketch, extrude. This time, we need to do an extrude cut. So I'm going to click on just below join. If you don't see this, you'll have to click on the little drop down arrow under where it says extrude in that extrude window. Click on cut and then type in your distance. So the distance is 0.57. Then you're going to want to turn the part around. On the other side, it's also cut out, and it's a slightly different dimension. So we're going to create a sketch on the other side. Again, create a rectangle. And I want any constraints created that lock me onto anything, so I'm just going to kind of create it out here in space where I don't have any dotted lines showing up. And then I'll go ahead and dimension this one the same way I did the first one. It's 1 tall, 2.5 wide, 0.34 from the edge, and 0.27 from the top. Alright, once again we fill it to 0.2, and the depth of this cut is also 0.57, just like the one on the front of the object. So we can just click extrude, flip that extrusion by clicking here, or to click cut right there. And now all we have left is to cut the top of it and then the slots and the sides. So I'm going to create a 2D sketch on the top. And this top part, I'm going to again create a rectangle. .59. Oops. It's 1.59 this way. Tab on the keyboard and 1.98 the other direction. One thing that you can do if you don't want a dimension to get it in the right location, but you know it's centered, is you can use a constraint. So right up here, you can see we have horizontal constraint and vertical constraint. If I click on horizontal constraint and click on the center of the object, you can see it pulls it so those 2 points are in line with each other horizontally. The reason why that's funny is because it's rotated. I didn't really want that. I didn't want horizontal. I wanted vertical. So if I click here and there, that gets me centered. Okay, so that's a way that you can do it without using dimensions. And then I don't think it's centered as I'm looking at it from top to bottom. So I'll have to dimension. Here it is 0.82. Then there are also 0.2 on this feature as well. Don't worry if it shifts around because of that constraint, it'll come back. And then this gets, oops, not revolved, extrude, cut, 1.07. Alright, all we have left is the rectangular slots that go in the side. We could do this a few different ways. I'm going to show you what might be the faster way to do this and show you the mirror feature at the same time. So I'm going to start a sketch right on the front, and I'm just going to create one side of the object, one of the cutouts. So what I'm going to do here is click on project geometry. If I click on that, I can take some of the features of the existing part and bring it into my sketch. So now the lines that I click on are going to exist in my existing sketch. So I'm just going to use those for reference. Then what I'm going to do is create a rectangle. And I'm just going to create that rectangle right over here. And I'm going to dimension it to the right size. So the size that I want is going to be 0.06 wide and 0.06 tall. And from the top of the part, we have a dimension of 0.3. Alright, now what I want to do is I want to take the same exact feature and do it on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a line, and I'm going to select right up here to make it a construction line. And that construction line, I just want it to be vertical. It doesn't even matter how long it is. And then I'm going to click on the mirror tool, and you have two different things you're going to do. You're going to select, and then you're going to select the mirror line. So I'm going to select all the parts of this rectangle, and then I'm going to click on the mirror line arrow and click on this mirror line and hit apply. You can see that brought that square over to the other side. So I'm going to hit done, and what I didn't get is I didn't get the line I wanted. So I'm just going to delete this longer line here that I had projected before. Come back over. I'm just going to redraw a new line in to make sure that I have a closed shape. I'm going to finish the sketch, extrude, select what I want to extrude. Okay, you can see I'm having some issues here. It's not letting me select this, and that happens from time to time. easiest way to potentially solve this problem is click on this little red cross here. You get that anytime it sees that you don't have a closed loop. So I'm going to click on closed loop and hit finish. Hopefully it tells you it fixed it. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. You might need to delete any extra lines or anything that are in your sketch. That could be confusing as well. Make sure that's all closed in. There. Now I'm pretty sure I don't have anything extra that I don't need. So we'll finish the sketch, extrude, select those, and then we're going to go to cut, and then you could type in a distance that goes through the whole part, or you could just hit all and it cuts all the way through. And that's it. That's the finished part. So I'm going to hit File, and I'm going to go ahead and save it, and save it for my future PDF that I'm going to turn in. So that is how to make the Automoblox body.